Okay, good evening, everyone. We are set to start our city council meeting tonight. And I will call this meeting to order and ask Councilmember Carrie Broggie to lead us in the pledge. Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have our roll call.
Councilmember Broggie?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendez?
Here.
Mayor Villaseñor?
Here.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Here.
And Councilmember Garnica is absent.
Okay, thank you. Our next agenda is the approval of our agenda. I'll entertain a motion. Thank you. Welcome, Norma.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, first of all, I hope this can become 4 minutes after a while instead of 3. 3 is hard. Okay. I'm calling about the, on Central, the parking. Sorry, I was getting nervous. It's hard. It's very hard to get business due to a lack of parking, okay? Slowly, a lot of businesses are dying. There are 5 empty buildings on Central right now, plus the Fillmore Flower Shop on Central. She just left and she went to a different area. There's another business. I'm not going to say out of respect who that business is, but they just talked to me. They're probably going to be leaving on December 31st. When I've talked to these different people, I've asked them all, what's the problems? Then they're all saying there's no parking spaces for customers. Now, another thing too is CVS is a business and they have the right for their customers to park on there like every other business. The problem is that because most of the Fillmore people, residents, work out of town, they don't shop in the stores, and they shop wherever they work. But they do come into CVS to get their prescriptions, which is fine, and then they leave. But Central is so packed with, we watch them, so packed with customers for them, there's no room for anybody else. So all I'm saying is we're Vintage Pleasures. I talked to Treasure Station. I talked to Trax. It's all of them, the same thing. There's no room for parking. So we're wondering what you can do for us. This gravel area over here across the old fire station, if there's any way at all, it could be made into public parking with arrows. Excuse me. So when people come in, they can park there. And then if the city needs it for something at once in a while, they can put signs that not available then. Okay, the banner that was put on the highway, thank you very much. It's definitely helped. We've had people that have come in and I've asked them before, have you been here before? No. Can I ask you, what brought you here today? Oh, we were at the lights over there and we saw this sign in historical downtown Fillmore. They said, but you have to go around 1, 2, 3, 4 times, sorry about that, to be able to get up parking. And that's hurting us a lot. So I'm wondering, is there anything that can be done to help us? Because now 5 businesses are gone, another one is possibly leaving. It's pretty bad. So I'm just wondering if there's anything that can be done, because I'll be honest, I don't want to close my shop, and 2 of the other ones that don't want their names given right now, they're on the same level right now. They don't know, are we going to stay or are we going to go? So that's why I'm here. I'm hoping something can be done. And the other thing too, and I was told maybe nothing can be done about it, but there's a couple of merchants, actually 3.
About
that
20 seconds more.
Okay. That park on Central, they haven't stopped 1, 2, 3 hours at a time, even though they got that notice that said they can't, they still do it. So I need to know, is it going to be enforced? And if not, why even say that we can't? It's not right. If we're going to have any kinds of rules or regulations, follow them, enforce them, or don't even bother to have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Norma. Okay, thank you. I don't believe we have any more public comments for non-agendized items. Okay, I'll move then into our next item, which is our city council reports, recommendations, comments, committees, and board reports. So I'll turn it over to our council members. Oh, actually, that's a reminder to get my phone. Nothing to report. Okay. How about you, Carrie, or you, Luis?
Yeah, just want to report that I did attend a Ventura County Transportation Commission meeting, and also a subcommittee of theirs as well, that has to do with traffic and the roads here locally, and without going into a whole lot of detail, I think I did mention previously that we do definitely have word that the trains will be coming back. It's just, we don't know what they're going to be doing, but they're finishing the bridge. It should be done by the end of October at this point, and that'll be a game changer for us. So stay tuned for that. When I get updates, I'll pass them along. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to report something that we had discussed recently that I had mentioned to the community, that I will be stepping down as city council member. The official date is still tentative. However, this will be my last meeting here with you guys here on the dais. But, you know, so I kind of have a couple of things to say. I want to start off by saying happy birthday to my beautiful wife, who's out celebrating now without me, but I hope she's having a great time, you know, and that's one of the great things about this organization, is that they put family first. I think I've seen the proof of that. I've experienced that with the city manager Erica, and with the interim city manager Manny, the rest of the council members, the staff, executive staff has been very supportive as well. That also brings me to my biggest regrets, which are not being able to participate in some of these really important and influential committees. I think they're very valuable. Being able to come up here and report out things that are pertinent to the city and to the citizens, like the railroad, like the water conservation, all these things that I wasn't able to participate in because of family obligations, I guess is the right way to say it. And so that's a really great thing about this organization here, the City of Fillmore, how they prioritize family. I think it's very important. I think it goes a long way, and it creates a culture of acceptance to those who are in certain situations with family members who require additional attention at home. People such as the city manager, who is currently on leave. She has a beautiful baby boy that she keeps us updated with, and I think that's amazing. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to the City of Fillmore for that. It's hard for me to leave the city that I was born and raised in. I've been here my whole life. I mentioned in public social media posts how my family members left their hometown, and they were very proud of their hometown. They remained proud of it after decades of living here and having a family. And they moved here from where they were from, for a better life, for brighter opportunities. And it's the same reason why I'm doing it. It's not because of an opinion or because a whim. This was 10 months in consideration. And I love this town. I will always love it. I will always be a part of Fillmore, and I will always return. So basically, the company that I work for is moving. They offered me an opportunity with the company to assist them to move myself, as well as have a more important position in the company. So recently, we shipped out 22 pallets of product for the company. It was a lot of work. I was getting home late. It was tough. But I'm only saying that to say, when the trucker came to pick up all these pallets, he stopped and he started looking around here in town, and he started taking pictures. He started talking about how beautiful Fillmore is, and an hour and a half goes by, and I'm concerned about whether or not he's getting impatient, but he's on the phone and he keeps taking videos and photographs of the scenery, and it made me feel really good because I grew up going to the Sespe River all the time and just appreciating the environment that we're in the city that we're in. We do have challenges, we do have uphill battles, and I am confident that the staff here, the management, and the city council is continuing to tackle these issues, such as the economic development. There's a lot of problems there that we are addressing. Hopefully we can see some of these empty business places become occupied and busy. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that's happening that we've talked about here and there that I'm confident about, and I'm confident also that the city's going to grow in the right way. There are a lot of really considerate people behind the scenes working towards making sure that the city doesn't just blow up arbitrarily or irresponsibly. And there's people with concerns about the city growing. At the end of the day, we're not going to be able to stop the growth, but I am really confident that the growth will be facilitated in the best interest of Fillmore. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of mention these things. Wanted to let all you guys know that I appreciate you guys. Everybody has treated me very well, very kindly, very respectfully. And when I wasn't able to attend or enlist myself into a representation of Fillmore, going out of town to different meetings or participating in different committees, ad hocs and such, everybody was really kind to me and understanding of the situation that I was currently in. So I just want to say thank you to the city of Fillmore, and I look forward to keeping in touch with everybody here. And so thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Luis. Yeah, I was going to say, I think some of our council members will have a couple of comments too.
Thank you for your service to the city, and I'm going to miss serving with you, and thank you for serving. Your words are always so thoughtful and kind, and challenge us to all to think in different ways. And we're going to miss you and your family, and remember, family is always first. So, and you'll always be family to us. So good luck in your future endeavors to you and your family. God bless.
Yeah, I had the privilege of getting to know you during the campaign seasons that we experienced, and I have been so impressed once you took the seat here and you were elected. You were so thoughtful and methodical about your thinking when you went to answer questions, and sometimes I was in awe of some of the things that you came up with, and you're going to laugh at this, I know, but, I think, okay, this is the same guy who told a, conference room full of people about wearing his wedding shoes, which is a long, short story, but when I see that person, and that was several years ago that occurred, and I see what you grew into here and the way you responded to the issues that came before us, trust me, I am going to miss you majorly.
Yes, well said, Carrie and Albert. And I'm going to ditto what they said. I think the key phrase for you on council, Luis, has been thoughtful. Just so thoughtful and measured in just absorbing so much, because as we know on council, and anyone who's been a council member, it is such a steep learning curve to, we all, I know as a candidate, I think I know the city. No, we really don't know the city and everything that takes place and goes on. And I think you face that steep uphill curve, that challenge head on. And I really respect you for that. And again, for all of the thoughtful conversations that we've had here on the dais, and upstairs in our closed session conversations as well. It's been really incredible. And just one thing that I knew from the very beginning when you came on board, Luis. Right away, there's a conference that we all go to, new council members and mayors and that sort of thing, and you got to travel. We try to make it work, and to see you there with bringing your wife and your little boy, and just we all kind of came in late. I know for me, I was just like your commitment was just paramount there, and you've done everything that you can do in your power to really be a part of the council, and you have been, and you will be missed. Your viewpoints, your contributions, and your sense of humor. You always like to you're great at breaking the ice on things, so much appreciated. And if I can just encourage you, where you're moving to, once you settle in, really encourage you to get back into public service in some sort of way, because you are a valued asset to whatever community that you live in. Yeah. Okay, well done. So one more applause for you. Thank you. Okay, I myself, we just had our meeting 2 weeks ago, so I also don't have too much of an update. Councilmember Garnica isn't here today, and I usually goes first and rely on him to give an update about our economic ad hoc committee. But we did have a meeting at Red Engine Brewery, so thank you, Red Engine, for that on the morning of September 11th, I believe. Yes, and even more business owners came out to the meeting, and so the idea that, the vibe that came from that is that hopefully it's just going to continue to grow, and more, sharing of ideas, and just to address, I think Norma has stepped out, but the kind of issues that she brought up about the parking, and let's look for solutions, and how can we continue to work with the city? Those are the sort of things that we can really dive in deep into these kind of roundtables, and really the point of them is to hear from the business community, work together with the city, and it is solutions focused. It really is. It's not a thing of, talk and not move. So I just want to say I really appreciate Manny and also Angel for taking all the input from these meetings and really taking to task, okay, let's have some concrete steps to move forward. So we're going to continue to do that. The next one to be determined. I think we're just going to confirm on the date and time, but it'll be in November. So we'll keep everyone posted on that. And yep, I think that's it. I don't have anything more, but I think in 2 weeks I'll have some more updates on my boards and commissions. All right. Okay, our next item is our consent calendar. But before I move forward, we do have a public comment on item. Let me see this here, 7A on the consent calendar. So I'd like to call up Jasmine Duran.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and community members. My name is Jasmine Duran, and I'm the Advocacy and Community Impact Coordinator for Autism Society of Ventura County, and I'm here tonight on behalf of our Advocacy Committee. Thank you for the opportunity for speaking. I'll be speaking on two different matters. For this one is 7A, the adoption of Ordinance 25-987 to implement the 2021 to 2029 housing element. First, regarding the ordinance and text amendment 25-02, we applaud the City of Fillmore for moving forward with this ordinance, which will help expand affordable housing opportunities for low-income households. At Autism Society of Ventura County, we advocate for individuals and families who face unique challenges, including securing affordable, accessible housing. We offer our strong support for the inclusion of 20% affordability requirement for multifamily housing in the housing overlay zone. This is a critical critical step to ensure that low-income families, including those with disabilities, have access to stable and affordable homes. We also encourage the city to support universal design principles in new developments and support projects that include set-aside units for Tri-Counties Regional Center clients. Universal design goes beyond basic accessibility and ensures that housing is inclusive and functional for people of all abilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we are back on consent calendar. So can I entertain a motion?
So moved?
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Passed consent. We're moving on now to our new business items, and our first is 8A, consideration of a Fifth Amendment to the property remediation agreement for 461 Central Avenue. And I'll welcome up Brian. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you, City Council, Mayor, and City of Fillmore. Let me find my item real quick here. Okay, this is the 461 Central project, and this is the fifth time extension. So this body has seen this before a few times. This is the fifth time extension for completing all the conditions of approval for their CUP. There's only one condition remaining. And just a summary, everybody I think knows where this project is. It's at 461 Central. It's in the Central Business District, just up the street here. It was originally approved, well, it was approved recently as a banquet hall in 2022, and it's been operating as a banquet hall over the past few years. And they've completed everything to date. The construction is absolutely beautiful. If you haven't been in there, do go. They've had a lot of weddings, and it's very talked up. It's featured in magazines. It's a great, great venue for the city. Yes?
I got married there. It was beautiful.
Oh, awesome. That's great. And they're working on making it even more beautiful with condition E16, which requires that they underground some overhead lines. And through that, it had a little bit of a domino effect. We're not just getting one new streetlight, but two new streetlights. And there'll be two lines that currently cross from Kensington. They cross over Central Avenue, and those will come down and go underground. The time extension will allow 6 more months for Edison to complete their work. It's probable we'll be back in January asking for another 6 months, but we'll see. We're being optimistic here. And just to go back and summarize a little bit of what we're getting out of this, it's really quite good. This pole right here is at the alley of Kensington, and just behind the project. So that old light pole with the Cobra headlight on it and that overhead line will be removed. And that's the light that will go in. You see these around downtown, so it'll be consistent with the downtown character. And then secondly, that pole there on the corner will be removed, and those lines that currently cross overhead on Central Avenue will be removed. Unfortunately, there's a wood pole that has to go in on the east side of Central just to keep the tension across those two pre-existing lights. So that's an unfortunate aspect of it, but it does get us one step closer to ultimately having all of downtown undergrounded in the future. And that corner piece will get the dual globe, so it'll look like that. City staff's recommendation is to approve the Fifth Amendment to the property remediation agreement and to extend the conditions of approval completion deadline to January 2026. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yes.
Yes, Luis.
The pole and the fixtures look familiar. Is that from Amaron?
Yes, Amron is manufacturing those right now.
I used to work there.
Awesome.
I used to carry all that equipment. Not the pole,
All right.
but all the other stuff.
Yeah, these ones take a particularly long time to pour. It's a specialty. And then they have to order those globes from some other manufacturer. So that's part of the reason why we're here. Edison had to wait for the owner to finish their component of it, which was to run the conduit underground. A few weeks back, you may have seen that the street was closed. That's what was happening. And they had to wait till that happens, and then they can order those poles from Amron, and that's when Amron then starts the manufacturing process, and it's about a 12-week lead time for that. And then once they get the pole manufactured, then they schedule for the different teams of Edison to come out and do their sequence of events, which is pull the wire through, install the lights, energize, et cetera. Yeah, so long answer to your question, but yeah, Amron's been great. I mean, the manufacturing is where they're at right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Benny. Yes, Carrie.
Yeah, can you, Brian, go back to that slide where
Sure.
it showed that second pole with the dual, and you mentioned something about the wire going across the street.
Yes.
I kind of missed on, didn't quite understand that one.
Okay. Okay, that's this one here?
Yeah, so the lower arrow pointing to the left, that wire will remain, is that, or will be added?
No, that will come down.
Oh, that'll come down.
Yeah. So the conduit now runs under Kensington and comes straight across Central Avenue.
Okay,
That's where the pipe is now. So those two lines that you see overhead, those with the arrows, that one and that one, those can then be removed,
okay,
and the wire will be pulled across the street and then up a wood post, and then it will span north and south to the existing light on the north and the existing light on the south. So it will just run, it'll run horizontal on the east side of Central
gotcha.
instead of coming across Central.
Okay, okay,
And it's a little bit closer to getting everything underground. It's an unfortunate interim step, but it was the only way they could get it designed that way.
okay.
Yeah,
I get it now, thank you.
yeah, sure.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, great questions. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I guess my question would be, basically Edison has been they've been working with Edison, it's just been these, like you mentioned, there's different delays and things like that. But so once everything is set on the property owner's end, do they have to get into like a new queue to get into, all right, let's
Yes.
do this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you go through the planning process, and then you get some design plans, and there was a period of time when I can take the blame for wanting to expand the project. Like I was trying to get 3 additional lights down,
Okay.
and I was trying to find the monies to do that, and it would have been kind of a 2/3, 2/5, 3/5 partnership. So we explored that a little bit with Edison. We came up with a grander plan to do more undergrounding out of this. And then that didn't come to fruition, so we had to backtrack and go back to the next best option.
Okay.
So we tried, but I think we're getting a good quality improvement in any case.
Right.
So that's where we are. But there's been a significant amount of delay getting through the different. I'm not trying to call Edison out, but there's been a significant delay in getting through the different sequences of things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We're getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right. If not, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the City Council approve the Fifth Amendment to the Property Remediation Agreement with 461 Central LLC to extend the conditions of approval completion deadline January 20th, 2026.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. All right. Thank you. Okay. Our next item is. Business item is 8B, the designation of the voting delegate and 2 alternates, for the California League of Cities Annual Conference and Expo. And good evening to Raleigh.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members, and Fillmore residents. As you mentioned, this is a designation of the voting delegates and 2 alternates for the League of California Cities Annual Conference that is happening next month on October 8th to the 10th. And as Luis mentioned, the council mentioned, the city council members serve as official representatives of the city to various intergovernmental agencies. The League of California Cities allows each member of a city, including the city, to vote at its annual business meeting. And at this meeting, the league membership considers and takes action on resolutions that establish league policy. So in order to vote at that annual business meeting, the city council must designate a voting delegate as well as an alternate in the event that the designated voting delegate is unable to serve in that capacity. And at this point, Yes, we recommend that you designate a primary voting delegate and an alternate. And attached to this report, you'll also see a letter from the League of California Cities and the preliminary conference schedule for next month. Thank you.
And thank you for that. It was great seeing the schedule. That's what's there. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Not discussion? We have.
So one primary and one alternate.
Who was the primary last year?
So yes, last year was Christina and the alternate was Carrie.
Would it be inconsiderate of us to nominate John Cornico?
I was going to mention that. He will be there, am I correct?
I second that.
All right, I'm glad to be an alternate. Should we nominate John?
I'll be the primary.
Want to be the primary?
You'll do
Yeah, I'll be the primary.
Are you able to? Well, I'm glad you will, Albert. But just thinking, they have to be here through. You're good through Friday, I think, like at noonish.
Afternoon, yeah.
Okay.
Stay longer.
If not, I'm glad to be it.
Yeah, maybe I'll be the.
Okay. All right.
There could be up
Okay.
to 2 alternates, just in case.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so
I'm
we
glad
have-
to be the primary. If you'd like to be an alternate, and John could be the other alternate.
Okay, works for me.
Okay, so Christine,
Sure.
Mayor Villaseñor,
Sure.
the primary, and then we have 2 alternates, Albert and John.
Sure.
Okay.
And we know he's okay with that.
Okay. So I believe we need to make a motion for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to reinstate Christina as the primary and John as the alternate.
And Albert, right?
Yes, and Albert's the second alternate.
Is that what I said?
I think you just skipped him, but that's okay.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Albert is the alternate.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion? Second?
Second that motion.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, great. Okay, next business item is 8C, the approval of an agreement with TND Studio and Associates for the architectural and engineering design services for the well number 10 structure. And good evening, Joe.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, City Council. This is a recommendation by the Public Works Department to the City Council to approve a contract with TKN Studios and Associates for architectural and engineering design services for the Well 10 structure in an amount not to exceed $60,000. This work is part of the Well 10 project, which replaces the aged well number 5 at Dolores State Park. As previously presented to the council, this project has 3 phases. The exploratory drilling phase, which is known as Project Specifications 2503A, was advertised for competitive construction bids on the 28th as planned, and it's currently out. We've had a pre-bid meeting, and we've gotten excellent attendance. Some really desirable drillers attended that and are actively asking questions through our Planet Bid in a form of bidding question Q&A process. So the bids are due back on October 9th, so we were able to put it out for a little bit longer than we had planned, which is a good thing. That attracts more competitive bids at the end of the day. The second part of it, which is Project Specifications 2503B, is what we're here asking for design services for. And that is to design the facility housing, our wellhead pump, the piping, the generator, the electrical panel, and our chlorination equipment. The TKN Studios was selected due to their experience with similar projects, their reasonable cost, and the ability to work quickly and closely with the design team on expedited deliverables. The fiscal impact is $60,000, which is already included in the budget for this current fiscal year, 25-26, for the Well 10 project, and does not require additional funding. Again, the recommendation is to approve the agreement with TKN Studios and Associates for design services for well number 10. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions? No? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I noticed in the first paragraph, under the discussion, I'm just curious whether or not this has happened in the past, or if it happens in other locations. The phrase that says that the project specification consists of exploratory drilling to determine if we have a viable supply and quality of water source.
That is correct.
Okay, so
That's a correct statement.
have you ever experienced a situation or other wells, possibly somewhere else, where, I mean, how often does that happen?
Well, whenever you drill a well, that's the goal, is to, once you drill the hole, you're going to pump it, see what kind of pumping rate you can get out of it, and then you're testing the quality of the water that you're drilling from. Sometimes it'll result in you going deeper, and other times it results in you abandoning the drilling operation in the well site. Well number 9 is a perfect example. We drilled it, we test pumped it, and we took water quality samples. The test pump came back at a little bit lower than we had anticipated, and the quality of the water was degraded for 2 elements. It was decided it wasn't going to be abandoned, rather, put on the shelf for now. And if there's some water studies show that we're going to need it in the future, so it's just on standby at this point.
Okay.
So, but that is always the goal when you drill a well. You could be 10 feet off of a good water supply. You could be up or down 10 feet. It's really a guessing game until you drill that hole and you test pump and you take the water quality samples that you know for sure if you're on some good water.
Even though it's in close proximity to an adjacent well, yeah. Okay.
That is exactly why we put it next to 5.
Yeah.
That's our best bet.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That was a great question.
Joe?
Thank you. Okay, there's no other questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion.
I move the city council approve a contract with T&D Studios and Associates for architectural and engineering design services for well number 10, structured in an amount not to exceed $60,000.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is item number 8D, recommendation to keep the Rio Vista Park Detention Basin open year-round with closures managed by the Public Works Department during storm events. All right,
Thank you,
it's a
Madam
good
Mayor.
one.
That is, yes, that is the request here, is that the Public Works Department is requesting that the Rio Vista Park Detention Basin remain in a year-round, an open year-round state for public use, with temporary closures only before, during, and after storm events. Historically, the basin's been closed from October to April, which is our recognized rainy season by several regulatory agencies. That's been put out. And we've maintained the open state from May to September. However, after observing several storm events in the performance of the basin, we believe that this could be managed in a different way, where we keep the basin open and to the public use in a safe, more efficient, and maximizing the ability for public access. The proposed management plan that will, the work we've developed and will be finalizing sets out clear closure criteria, forecasted rain, for example, standing water, muddy conditions, establishes inspection protocols before reopening the basin, uses signage, websites, and social media to notify residents of opening and closing the basin, and then to the ultimate goal to ensure that the safety and reliability standards in consultation with the city's insurer are met. The fiscal impact is very minimal. Staff time is part of our routine opening of our parks process, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to take this different approach. New signage, we probably would want to put in some new signage, and minor maintenance, all absorbable within the existing budget. This, as you can see in the staff report, it meets a number of the city's goal, or the council's goals and core values. Again, the recommendation from, or the senior staff report is to authorize me as the Public Works Director to implement a year-round open policy with storm event closure management plan. That concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions?
Comment and a question.
Okay.
Was really thrilled to see this happening because when the park was first being built, that whole area, Rio Vista Park, several of us on council wanted it to be open unless it was raining like we're doing now. And at that point, I understand the rationale behind it at the time. I think staff was unsure what that would look like if we had it open all year round and then quickly run over and close it if it, and it is a basin, so it does gather water. But again, this is, I've seen so many people using that area when the gates are unlocked, when it's available to use. And a lot of the times, they're out there with their dogs, either on leash or sometimes off leash, even throwing a ball around. And that was one thing that I was wondering too, is that, is there an issue with regard to animals being on that basin at all?
Issues with animals being on the basin, I would say no. It's like any other park. It should operate at like any other park.
Okay.
How we see it being used, where dogs off leashes and, you know, a quasi dog park, if it's the council's direction to make it such that it is a quasi dog park, that'd be a little bit difficult to manage the two priorities. You know, where we're maintaining a playable area for kids and having to deal with, fecal and
True,
waste
yeah.
from animals.
Yeah.
So that'd be something that we would, want to work close. And in addition to that, we would have some improvements to make to the basin to accommodate that kind of a use. When we see it being used like that now, it's when it's closed or open that we see that type of use. My concern is if we formalize it and make it that kind of a use, that the gates, the doors that are along the basin, and there's about 9 in the big basin, we would have to do some modifications to those to make sure that they're auto closing, they're force closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that they stay closed so that the dogs can't get out. I'd like to think every dog is from heaven and, won't hurt anybody, but the reality is we have to protect against
Right,
that outcome.
I had this discussion a little bit with our interim city manager on Monday, and we talked about I'm trying to blank on the name of that park in Ventura again, Manny.
Arroyo
Camino
Verde.
Real?
Yeah, where they
Arroyo Verde.
they open it up to dogs off leash. And again, this is the park in Ventura up above Foothill, until 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And then it's no longer dog free. You can have a dog there on a leash, but then dogs are on leash from 10 o'clock on. And the other thing too about the basin here at Rio Vista is that it's not conducive. I think it's too much of a basin to be used for any kind of a sports field. So I'm just trying to think of the best use for it.
It is actually designed for a soccer field.
Really?
Right. Yeah, that's the original design plans, different size soccer fields on it. And the developer, to that end, the developer was required to provide the city with good goals. And, I got to say that they gave us really high-quality goals that are not being used, that are in that storage house that's at the park. So, yeah, it's killed me to see that, asset not be used as its
Right.
intended purpose,
Right.
especially
That
during
would be
storm
better.
season.
But my recollection is that it's so much of a basin. I mean, would there have to be some kind of corrective measures to make it more level?
Not level, better maintained. I have to admit, I'm a little bit upset at the quality of the maintenance that we've been giving it. When we do this, if we have this year-round open policy, then, we're going to be putting a little bit more pressure on our contractor to maintain a very good, high-quality, playable grass.
And the dogs out there probably aren't helping, the maintenance of it either, so.
Yeah, when it was designed with a very armored type of a grass for the inflow aspect of the basin. So we have big drainage channels that are diverted to the basin in the dry season, or for dry weather flow, or the first capture event of a storm. So that's very hard armored grass, and then we have the good quality playable grass, but there's no border between it. So it's kind of like morphed, that hard armored, grass is kind of invaded the good quality grass, and it's the basin is just needs to be better maintained. We need to, do a scalping of it during the off season and put some good quality seed down and aerate it, do the things you would typically do to a park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for thought. Thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah, I just wanted to agree that I think I'm glad to see this on the agenda, and I understand where we were a couple of years ago with looking at liability and risk, but just thank you, Joe, for basically being able to say that this is something that the city can handle and it is doable, and just as long as we're diligent about the schedule and whatever the protocols are for the opening and the closing of it. And I was there, it was probably a while ago, but there was a come together flag football team that was practicing. But I understand what you mean, because it's like, it's not a field. They were sort of running in shrubbery a little bit down there. So I like too that you're mentioning that if we do have this open year round, that maybe it's not per se officially, a dog park, but it's a space for people to come and have recreation, but it's more maintained as a park for folks to use. I think that's a really good. And I also just wanted to plug as well and say, I think this is great, and we do have our dog park in town, and let's not forget about the dog park. And I had just mentioned to Manny that I know that there's some grants, funding applications that are coming up in the winter months for tree canopy and shovel-ready projects to help with issues like that. So I'm hoping that we can bring that forward. But I like to see this, and I like to see us also still see how we can improve our Two Rivers Dog Park. Continue to do that. So, okay, all right. If there's nothing else then on this, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to authorize the Public Works Director to keep Rio Vista Park Detention Basin open year-round for public use, with closures managed during and following storm events. The Public Works Department will develop and implement a basin closure management plan describing the criteria and procedures for closing and reopening the basin.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion. To have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yes, I know that our residents will be very happy about this. Okay, moving on to our next agenda item. It is 8E, the First Amendment to the agreement with Wyatt Trapp Incorporated for the Dolores Day Park restroom project.
Thank you. The Public Works Department is recommending approval of the First Amendment to the Sourcewell construction agreement with Wyatt Trapp, Inc. for the Dolores Day modular restroom project. Originally, Wyatt Trapp, Inc. was contracted to handle the demolition, the pad preparation, utility tie-ins, and construction work, concrete work around that modular structure. That was purchased and installed by Public Restroom Company. After the installation, it was determined that an additional 300 square feet of concrete would be needed to be removed and repoured in some areas beyond the original 92 square feet that was included in the estimate. This was to ensure ADA compliance and appearance of join lines and whatnot. So this change that has already been done by Wyatt Trap Inc., they stepped up and they did it without any guarantee. So I have to, it's been, we've worked with Wyatt Trap Inc. on several projects now, and they've been really nice to work with. So I wanted to just acknowledge that, and, a big thank you to them. But they've been working without that guarantee for repayment. But the cost that we agreed to in this amendment came to $4,893.64, bringing the total contract amount not to exceed to $56,899.82. The fiscal impact for this project remains with the already allocated $242,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, budget for the park improvement. Updated costs for this project, the Public Restrooms Company came in at $184,992. You have the Wyatt Trap total. So the total for the entire project came in just under that $242,000. Again, the recommendation is to approve this first amendment with Wyatt Trap Inc. Contract to cover the additional ADA required concrete work. They're out there today sodding the area that they had included as part of their project, as part of the demolition of the surrounding area. With that concludes that would conclude the work that they're going to be responsible for. So look for the notice of completion to be in your council pack at the next meeting. With that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions? No, the restroom looks great. It's really nice. Okay, all right, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that City Council approve the First Amendment to the Sourcewell Construction Agreement with Wyatt Trap Inc. for the Dolores Day Modular Restroom project.
All right.
I'll second.
And we have a second? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are on now to our next item, 8F, request for support of the Ventura County Community Foundation's Neighbors Support Fund. I'll hand it over to Manny.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Members of the council, I bring to you a report that was brought to us through the Ventura County Community Foundation and their CEO, Vanessa Bechtel. She approached the Ventura County city managers at our monthly meeting in July and explained Ventura County Community Foundation's desire to create a fund that folks can make donations to, that cities can contribute to that would provide financial assistance to nonprofits that would in turn provide various forms of assistance to families that are impacted by immigration enforcement throughout the county of Ventura. And so specifically, what the fund does is it looks to provide urgent assistance to families and small business owners through trusted community partners such as the nonprofits that are already working to provide those resources. So they've put together a special advisory committee of respected local leaders and to ensure transparent distribution of resources and also to address our most critical humanitarian needs in the county. And their priority is helping families with food, shelter, and basic necessities while also supporting the community through a wider economic impact throughout going through this crisis that's impacting the community. And so we do have, let me finish this part here. So there are several other cities that have pledge their support for the Neighbors Support Fund. And so to date, I believe it's the City of Thousand Oaks has pledged to support the fund and also make a financial contribution of $100,000. And you also have the Port of Hueneme that has agreed to support the fund. And then also tonight, I believe the City of Ventura also agreed to support the fund, and the City of Camarillo will be looking at considering supporting the fund tomorrow night at their council meeting. And what the staff is recommending that we're looking to get recommendation from the City Council to either, support the fund and make a contribution. What we've recommended was a contribution of up to $5,000. Or if the council decides not to make a financial contribution, to perhaps to support the effort, support the fund, or the council can also decide not to support the fund. And with that, we do have a speaker, a representative on behalf of Ventura County Community Foundation, Mr. Michael Soleil, if you'd like for him to make a presentation and speak more about the fund.
That would be great. Thank you. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. The fund was launched 6 weeks ago, and I'm pleased to say we've raised nearly $500,000. We're not asking for dollars tonight. We're asking for support. That's it. I also would say very clearly in the presentations that we at VCCF have been giving, we are a nonpartisan 501c3. This isn't about politics. This is about people. It's about our neighbors. That's why it's called the Neighbors Support Fund. We've made a change in its naming convention so that it's now the Neighbors Support Coalition, so that it makes better sense in terms of people that want to pledge support, but not necessarily be able to give financially at this time. We've got members of many city councils who individually have given. I would encourage all of you, if you'd like to, that would be great. But of the $500,000 that have been raised, $120,000 have already been given out in the first round. The group that oversees who's giving those funds out is Jeff Dean, our former county sheriff, Bruce Stensley, who oversees EDCVC, Cesar Morales, who's our county superintendent, and Brando Posey, who is a local business owner. And so we are very, very thrilled to learn that 1 hour ago, the city of Ventura voted unanimously to support. So tonight, if we were to get some financial assistance, fantastic. But more importantly, it's about supporting our neighbors and letting people know that they're seen, they're supported, and we want them to be safe. October 7th, we'll be holding a coalition meeting where we're talking about how we can just continue to provide support to all of our neighbors that are out there. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Does anyone have any questions? I know, I've got a question. I know in our staff report, if you can elaborate more on, I think it said also on the website that one of the goals is keeping kids in school. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. One of the things that's important, and especially working with Superintendent Morales, is we have seen a marked decline in a number of schools in terms of attendance. And so by working with our school systems and working through the kind of donations that are going out, it's helping to assure folks that are allies to understand it's safe to go to school. So that's there. The other is, of course, the kinds of funds that we'd want to give out are things that we're going to be looking at in the next round of funding that would be much more specific about making sure kids are in schools. But that is a goal of the fund.
Great. And can you just name a couple of the other, I guess, ways that assistance is being helped in these communities?
Yeah, in the first $120,000, quite frankly, it went to MyCop, Friends of Farm Workers, 805 Undocumented Fund. $500 checks have been being given to families to make sure that they can stay in their houses, put food on the table, and have some basic dignity in terms of areas that have been disrupted. That also supports our local businesses who also have seen folks kind of nervous about going and showing up and spending their dollars. The last of the fund went to Westminster Free Clinic, who provides mental health and physical health services countywide. So again, humanitarian, about people, not about politics.
All right, thank you. All right, does anyone have any other questions?
I do have a couple of questions. Thank you for the presentation so far, and for continuing to have this dialogue with us. I appreciate your support for the community and to help the community. One of the questions I had was, how many employees are in this organization?
Which organization?
The VCCF. Is it all volunteer? I know it's a nonprofit organization, but are there employees or is it all volunteer?
No, VCCF has a staff of probably about 20.
Okay.
Full-time. Don't quote me on, well, you just did. You quoted me on that, but about 20. I'm new. But have about $250 million under contract. We are your community foundation. And so that is where, when there's disaster and humanitarian relief issues that come, we're the ones that help coordinate it. So we're small, but what we do is build coalition with communities like this so that we can get money out to where it is needed.
I see. And I think you had already mentioned it, but when was it started? When was it founded?
6 weeks. Well, VCCF?
Yeah.
Oh, like 40 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's where I was a little bit kind of confused.
No, just this fund.
Oh, I understand.
6 weeks ago.
I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry if I made that confusing.
No, thank you so much. That's my only question for now.
And I just want to add one other piece. All of you who've worked with nonprofits in the past know one of the things that you look at is how much overhead is going to be taken. 0 from VCCF. Every dollar that goes into this fund, because it's so critical, just like we did with the fires, Woolsey Fire and other fires, 0 is taken in overhead in terms of paying for staff. Goes right out into the community, because that's just how important it is.
Thank you very much for that clarification.
Thank you.
I
Thank
had
you.
a question.
Question.
If cities donate or give to the fund, how are they ensured that those funds are going back to the cities that are donating to the families or businesses in that community?
Great question. That was not a stipulation from the city of Thousand Oaks. We're having other conversations with other cities about looking to designate things that are specific and earmarked to their cities. Just like a scholarship fund that we manage all the time, those are donor-directed funds. So if you decided as a city that you wanted to give something, but you wanted it only to be spent in Fillmore, we would honor that and we would work with you on how we'd award those dollars and to what agency that would go through.
So like say we wanted to go to the Boys and Girls Club, we could.
1,000%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that easy.
Okay.
It's
Okay, that was my
Yes.
big concerns. If we do.
This is not a faceless NGO.
I would like to see that money come back into our community, invested back
Absolutely.
where it's going to make the most
Yes.
difference.
Okay. Do we have any more? We have a couple of comments. I just want to know if we have any more questions.
Yeah, just regarding my colleague's comment just now, are you suggesting that anything that's contributed to the Neighbor Support Fund would not necessarily be used for the targeted immigrant situations going on right now?
No, but it would be looked at countywide. So, like I said, City of Thousand Oaks, no strings attached. Other people, no strings attached. Another city that I can't mention is looking at something that's very designated just for their city, and that's fine. So we're incredibly flexible in terms of making sure that dollars can go where you feel the biggest impact is going to be.
I mean, I looked thoroughly through the website for the Neighbor Support Fund. I saw no reference to that at all. Everything was connected immediately, directly to the immigration situation that we're currently encountering. I mean, unless I missed it somehow, but I didn't see any reference to being able to donate to the Boys and Girls Club, for example, or keeping the funds in our community. Specifically, I saw nothing to that effect.
Well, if you look at the general VCCF website,
Right.
that's exactly what it would say. That's the
I
mission of
understand. I'm very
VCCF.
familiar with the Ventura County, the foundation itself, and I know they've been around for decades.
Yeah.
But this newly formed Neighbor Support Fund is, I thought, something specifically created, especially based following what occurred. I know it was created prior to the Board of Supervisors hearing, but it was targeted specifically for that issue. But can you direct me or show me anywhere on a website or direct me to it on the website for the fund itself, for the Neighbor Support Fund, where it indicates that?
Well, if you know VCCF, then you know that we can designate funds in any way you see fit, just as any donor who comes. So in this case, I'm just talking about one fund out of 800 funds. And so if you want to give to this fund, but designate it to something, so for example, some have thought, I'd like to give dollars, but I want it to be for trauma for adolescents that they're dealing with. That's fine. So I'm saying we have flexibility in terms of how we give it. Or you could decide, I don't want to give to the Neighbor Support Fund, but I want to give to another fund that's there or create my own. We've got that flexibility. That's how we've been.
So if we could, to this fund, we could designate, we could say, we want to spend.
Yeah, but I'm not comfortable, based on the information I've received and dialogues I've had and what I've seen online, that that's being communicated to other communities. Certainly, I didn't know that, and I've done it, like I said, I've been on the website numerous times, looking for all the information I can get. And so what you're suggesting then is that this, there's the umbrella VCCF.
Yes.
And then there's the sub-Neighbor Support Fund, which
Yes.
is specific to the immigration issue.
The Neighbor Support Fund was launched as a humanitarian effort because of the immigration issue, but it's the same fund that will be used the next time. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have a fire or a shooting or something else. It's about building a coalition of support county-wide so that when something happens, we've got neighbors that we can come to and say, if you want to give, here's a place to give. That's all. It's just organizing it from that standpoint.
But wouldn't VCCF cover that anyway? I mean, why do you need a subcommittee, a sub-fund for people to donate anything they want to when they can go directly to the VCCF?
You can do either. That's the piece. The reason that we've created a fund is so that we can concentrate the effort and get the word out in terms of what it is that we're trying to accomplish. That's it. It's, if you want to give to a different fund, you can give to a different fund. But this is one that's designated as building a local coalition. That's why I'm going to city council meetings all over the county, meeting with chambers. All of the banks and credit unions have signed on, all the if you look at the list, this is a non-controversial list of people who are signing on because they're saying, we want to be of support. That's it. I'm missing I apologize because I'm.
No, and maybe I'm not being clear myself, and maybe I can throw this back to my colleagues here. Has anybody else seen a reference to donating to this fund? I mean, the recruitment and the push right now is for donations made specifically to the Neighbor Support Fund, which, if I understand you correctly, is primarily targeting the immigration issue.
At this time, right now.
Right, right. And once that's resolved, and hopefully it will be at one point in time,
Yeah, hopefully.
well, that's the goal, then what happens to the Neighbor Support Fund?
Neighbor Support Fund doesn't go away because we know we're going to have human disasters and other issues that come up. It's just another way for VCCF to organize. So in other words, when VCCF, as a foundation, people give us dollars and they designate what they want to do, this is the foundation saying this is something that's important from a community standpoint, and we're going to organize around it and help this issue and 200 others that are going to be there, but it's VCCF pushed as opposed to the donor that's pushing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I'm still just a little bit concerned that it doesn't appear to be portrayed that way on the website. I've talked to other city council members outside of the city of Fillmore. No one's mentioned that. Everyone was of the same opinion that I was when I got to council tonight, and that's that this was specifically a request for funds for donations for the Neighbor Support Fund, which is specific currently for the immigration issue.
And I'm not asking for funds tonight. I'm asking
I know our
for
report
support
is.
to the coalition.
Yeah, our report is. Yeah, our report's asking.
I
for
understand,
funds.
I understand.
Yeah, so somebody asked the city, maybe it was at the,
We'll take funds. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong.
When Vanessa presented to the city managers, she did, say that, hey, look, we're looking for support for the fund, and financial contribution will be very helpful. So that's why I'm bringing a financial contribution recommendation to you in this board letter.
yeah, and again, our report doesn't say anything about that either. So that's where I think I was misled. I won't speak on behalf of my fellow colleagues here, but, okay.
Okay, we have public comments on this, so are there any more?
I have one more question.
Well, I just want to make sure it's questions, and
Yeah.
we're not doing our discussion just yet, because we have
Yes.
public comments. Okay, yes, Luis.
Can you clarify when you mentioned the first round of fundraising? Is it going to be, is there a blueprint or a plan of a recurring fundraising specifically targeted, that doesn't sound nicely, but targeted towards municipalities or cities and city councils?
We know that every city is strapped right now. That is not our primary concern, is not dollars. This is not being funded by cities. This is being funded by individuals, by foundations, by philanthropy, and by other small businesses that are out there primarily. What we're looking for in terms of chambers and city councils is to say that we recognize that there are challenges in our community. We want to make sure that our neighbors are seen, supported, and safe. That's it. There is nothing else that's there. There's no partisan anything. And so trying to make it into something is, that's not the right way. We're just here to help. That's it.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much, Michael. Okay, we have, I think, actually 3 speakers on this, so I will call up Annette Sula. Welcome, Annette. You have 3 minutes. Okay, there we go.
Yes, I am Annette Sula. I've been in this city since, I was trying to figure that out since, my son was 11, so that would make him 76 and 11, 88. Okay, so I've been living in the city since 87. What concerns me about this is we have a lot of needs in Fillmore. I mean, our streets are bad. Our sidewalks are bad. We have so many things that really need attention here in our city, and I just don't see where right now us donating to something like this is at all going to be helpful to our city, our downtown. We're losing businesses constantly. I mean, we have so many things that we have. If we were an affluent like Thousand Oaks or something, okay, fine, that's different. But we're not. We're Fillmore. And we have limited funds, and I think that we're in a situation right now that we need help, not to give help to others, because we're struggling. I guess we are, because I mean there's so many streets that have huge holes in them and stuff. I mean, that's not good, so. I'm looking at this and saying I don't know what this is and what it's for, but I mean I can see in a different culture maybe this would be a good place for us to go. But we're Fillmore. I think we really need to take care of our own city right now and focus on that. And hopefully we will become very prosperous, and then we can think about helping others. But charity starts at home, doesn't it? Isn't that what the statement says? So this really, and also the whole concept of the money going to, well, anywhere outside of our city, really, at this point. I just think we need to, I think you guys do a great job, because we have very, very limited funds. We do a great job. People love the city.
30 seconds, Annette.
Oh, okay, 30 seconds, okay. Well, anyway, I really want to say, no, yeah, I feel that we really we really need right now to take care of our community. And once we are okay, then we can think about thinking of helping our neighbors. Right now, maybe we should ask our neighbors to help us so we can have a street that you can actually drive down. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Diane Sutton. Welcome, Diane.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak on a subject that's probably much more explosive than it sounds, at least in the news area that I see. We're talking about supporting, in a sense, illegal immigration. Not only that, let me back up for a minute here. There's just too many things to consider. There's a lot of variables in this. There's also already organizations like the Red Cross and churches that are organized to donate and help people in need. I don't know how they treat immigration, but illegal immigration, I don't know how else to say it. It's been tied to human trafficking. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of variables out there. We don't know where the money, I mean, this gentleman here says there is a way to be accountable for that money and how it's spent. But we are not in a position here in Fillmore, I mean, look at our downtown area, to really be in a position of philanthropy right now. Maybe in the future, if we donate and help our business owners. I'm concerned as a taxpayer and people that are paying for agents to try to protect us. I'm not saying everybody is a problem, but that seems to be the biggest problem. There's agents, our officers go out. I don't know how they feel about it personally, but they go out to defend us and protect us against people that are already illegal, and I know I'm going to make enemies. I know that. But it's a potential. So it's encouraging when you have all these facilities to offer people help. I don't know what all I don't even know how do you find these people to come and give money to them for housing, for food. That already is available. And I don't know the affiliates, haven't.
You have 30 seconds, Diane.
Okay, deep dive on who's affiliated with this group. I've never heard of them. And I'm not being disparaging. Please don't think that I'm being insulting. It's just, we need to do a deeper dive than I think, and make a decision right here on this moment. Why don't we all just donate personally instead of the checkbook of Fillmore residents? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have, I'm sorry, we have one more speaker?
Did you have another speaker? Okay.
One more speaker, yes. I have Jasmine Duran here, also for ADEF. Welcome back.
Hello again. My name is Jasmine Duran, and I'm here on behalf of ASVC's Advocacy Committee regarding the Ventura County Community Foundation's Neighbors Support Fund. We strongly urge the City Council to express your support for this fund, which provides urgent assistance to families, small businesses, and nonprofits impacted by the economic and social effects of immigration enforcement, which is an issue that also affects the city of Fillmore. The Neighbors Support Fund directly addresses critical needs such as food, shelter, and basic necessities, while also supporting local businesses and ensuring that students stay in school. These efforts align with Fillmore's values of public safety and inclusive, engaged communities. While a financial contribution of $5,000 would have an impact, we also believe that a public declaration of support would send an important message of solidarity to vulnerable families and businesses in Ventura County and here in the city of Fillmore. Autism Society Ventura County stands ready to partner with the City of Fillmore in supporting initiatives like this that strengthen our community. Together, we will continue to ensure that Fillmore is inclusive, equitable, and supportive of all its residents. Thank you for your time and for your leadership in addressing these important issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes our speakers on this item. I think, Manny, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask if Mr. Sully can provide a little bit more context. I was going to ask you, Michael, I guess in your experience in administering this fund and working with communicating with the nonprofits that are applying for this and providing these resources to the families and that need these resources, can you share, who these resources are going to, who these families are, how they've been impacted? And are these families that are citizens? Do they have legal status? Can you speak to any of that at all? That might shed some light on how these funds would be used.
Yeah. So let me say a couple of things. First of those is VCCF supports nonprofits who are trusted members of the community that people know and look to for services. So it's not VCCF that's doing the work. It is the groups that were funded in the first place. I don't know the names or where the fundees are from right now. Those dollars just went out. Checks are being given, so I don't have a report that I can give you. But I will say that the only place that it goes, anything that VCCF does, because we are a fiduciary of this and stewards of the fund, every group is checked out in terms of both the federal government and the state government to make sure that they are compliant as a 501c3 in terms of where those dollars go. So when they apply for a grant, they tell us how it's going to be used, and then we give them those dollars, and they go do it, and they send us a report back that then we audit. Those reports haven't come back yet. But right now, as I said, $140,000 have gone out. 10,000 of it went to Westminster. The rest went to the other three organizations. They are giving $500 checks out to families that have been devastated by what's happened in the disruption in the ag business, in farm work business, and in small business community. So that's what I can tell you right now. In the next round, it could go to small businesses. It could go to a food bank who has an application in that's looking for $7,000 so that they have a brand new freezer. Conejo School Foundation is asking for dollars so that they can have clothes in a clothes locker. Again, we're just beginning this process, and like I said, with another city, we're looking very directly at something that they will direct that will be city-specific. So I'm sorry that I don't have the more specific details, but literally these funds have just been given out in the last 15 days.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Manny. Thank you, Michael. Okay, council members, let's have a discussion. Anyone like to kick it off? I'd be happy to.
Yeah, I'd like to voice, I guess, a concern. Is say there's a contribution of $5,000, and next year it might look a little bit higher. The year after that, a little bit higher, and maybe it stops at a certain point. But what does it say about the city of Fillmore to stop making contributions once we ever have already started making contributions? Does the city of Fillmore, does the message go out that the city of Fillmore stopped caring? Does it go out that the city of Fillmore is financially worse off if the city does not continue making contributions over the years? Is it? And I'm also curious, is this something that that is even possible to be on a ballot? Is it something that we kick to the citizens moving forward?
Well, I think I can answer the question about if we were to be asked, again, today the ask isn't particularly for money, but it will be helpful, as said by Vanessa, the CEO, and shared at the city managers meeting. We have a history of contributing to organizations like the Housing Trust Fund, exactly, that came in recently, who, every few years, we'll see, about the what's the word, how the frequency of this, but, to ask the city again, and then that's sort of like more of it is a county-wide effort on housing. This is a county-wide or specific, as narrow as we want to make it, as broad as we want to make it, an initiative for contributions to help neighbors. And particularly, like Michael was saying, it's around, it grew out of the dire condition of families as a result of of immigration enforcement actions taking place. And so I think a lot of people wanted to know, I want to give, I want to help families, how do I do that? And VCCF created the organizational mechanism to give and to have, to have the people, the transparency about it, to have the vetted sort of advisory board, as he mentioned the names of the, very renowned, respected folks in our community. So I could answer you on that. It may come back. You're right. I don't know where you were going on the idea of a ballot, but right before us is a question right now of support and potentially financial support.
Yeah, I guess the question of say something that gets kicked back to the community is that I know the citizens, they elect city council members to make these decisions for them because they can't obviously vote on every single situation. But after this item here, moving forward in the future, is that something that can possibly be on a ballot for the city of Fillmore so that the citizens themselves could decide, yes, we want to send $5,000 to the Neighbor Support Fund, or whatever the request may be, or the suggestion may be in the future. I think it might be a legal question because, like I said, say there's a contribution being made, and 6 months from now or a year from now, and then consecutively down the road, this is something that we are initiating that becomes a trend or a tradition.
Yeah, I mean, arguably anything can go to the council, to the voters, but part of the council's responsibility is supposed to be to establish the budget for the city and the policy for the city. So typically, if a member of the public tried to do an initiative and say, hey, wait, you're not supposed to decide that needs to go to the voters, we would probably oppose that and say you can't interfere with the council's authority and things of that nature. So in theory, you could, but it's not the type of thing that typically would go to.
I think what I would add to that too is, each one of you was elected by, voters in your district. I think this is within your realm of responsibility and your ability to make a decision on behalf of the voters that elected you to office. You could look at it from that way as well.
Okay. All right. Albert, would you like to say something?
When I first looked at this agenda and saw this item, I was torn, and I was leaning towards the alternative number 2, but after I asked the gentleman my question, it kind of swayed me a little bit. If I could benefit children or families here in our town, I would like to make, if I could, be very specific, break up $5,000, $2,500 going to, say, Sunshine Preschool, and another $2,500 going to the Santa Clara Boys and Girls Club. And that would be my recommendation to the council. That way we know we're making a positive impact to children in our community.
Okay. I've got a few comments to make too as well. I believe that we wholeheartedly as a council, need to support the VCCF Neighborhood Fund. We need to support our community. I've got a lot to say here. Fillmore has, as we all know, I'm looking at the orange here on our logo, a really strong and proud agricultural history. And that's because our town is made up of a history of agricultural workers. And just wanted to throw out some statistics here just so we all consider who is Fillmore and what is our community. You know, in Ventura County, there's an estimated 40,000 farm workers in the county. Again, this is an estimate, 2/3 of which are undocumented. That's the estimate. And in Ventura County, just overall, population-wise, nearly 1 in 10 Ventura County residents are undocumented. That's 1 in 10 of our neighbors. And you know, who is Fillmore? Who are our Fillmore families? The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that in Fillmore, out of about 5,100 households, 2,471 speak Spanish at home. That's 48%. That's nearly half of our families in town speak Spanish at home. And 1 out of every 5 Fillmore residents is an immigrant. So 1 out of every 5 Fillmore residents is an immigrant. 1 out of every 10 is an undocumented immigrant. And many serve our agricultural industry. So I think it's really important that we contribute to this fund, and I'm very open to how we wanted to narrow down. I'd like to limit it to whether it's organizations, as Mayor Pro Tem Mendez mentioned, or families, Fillmore families receiving these funds. I think is extremely important and something that we need to do as a council to step up and meet the moment. And I would venture beyond the 5,000, and I would say that number should have another digit in front of it, and that it should even have a 2. And I think that I know it sounds that it's money, but if we can look, even I can maybe see to Deborah, or look a little further into our general fund reserve, which we have. Last I looked at the budget, $5,300,000 and some thousand, I believe. That's our prudent reserve. We've got another, again, just looking at the budget, $1.5 million, I think, in unassigned funds. That is a lot of money. $20,000 is a percentage of 1%. And families are hurting. We know that these are Fillmore families. There are Ventura County families, there are Fillmore families, and they're our workforce. They are the parents of many of our students. And I was really heartened to hear that some of these funds are going to help keep kids in school. And I think it's hard sometimes to, if we are not in that position, to understand, I'm getting emotional, to understand what a family's going through. I've been working with families that literally have not left the house. We are helping to bring food insecure families food to their home. And the people who are working and doing this are doing it as part of a coalition and part of several nonprofit organizations that have been named, and some that haven't been named yet, that I hope do receive some of these funds. So I ask us to meet the moment. I ask us to bring $20,000, maybe $5,000 from our general fund, looking at $15,000 from our general fund reserve, and to supplement and to help be a neighbor to our Fillmore neighbors. And I hope we can do that. I really hope that our council members can do that. And I know, Carrie, you were mentioning, not knowing all the details of this, and I think we can work it out. I mean, Michael, is willing to, like you said, work with us and be flexible. But I'm all for Fillmore families. I'm all for Fillmore organizations, and I would really like to see this happen. It's my input.
Like you, Christina, I love our Fillmore families, and I love our community as well. I am not comfortable saying, yes, donate even the $5,000. Using the example from earlier that Albert provided about, can we give it to Boys and Girls Club? Why would we go to a subcommittee or even, the overhead, the umbrella committee, the Ventura County, I'm drawing a blank, community fund? Why would we give it to them to then turn around and give it to the Boys and Girls Club here in Fillmore. I'm not following that logic at all. So, and I appreciate what you're saying, Christina, but I'm just not there. I don't think we have enough information. I think if you think that we need more, you said you think that you believe that they'll work with us. Well, let's get the details first before we sign on to this, before we start writing checks. And I agree 100% with some of the comments that were made about, we're not in a position, we're talking, Fillmore is not in a position to be giving, in spite of what we have in our general fund or in our reserves. We're not in a position to be writing checks. What was the total that you suggested, 25,000?
I'd like to see $20,000. I'd like to see.
Yeah. And I just believe with all my heart that if we go down this road and we start donating money to a fund, and I understand the significance of the fund, we're going to, how do we say no to the next nonprofit that comes along and ask for donations on things? I mean, we have to draw the line. I don't want to open the door on that. I think we need to deal with it ourselves if we want to write a check out of our own general fund or reserve for the Boys and Girls Club or whatever it happens to be for the community, our community directly, then we can do that. But I don't believe we're in a position to do that. And I think sending out $25,000 in light of some of the things that are not getting done in the community, and we're always talking from this dais about how many projects that we're working on and what our budget is and the goals that we're setting. And we're not reaching the goals as quickly as I know the community wants us to reach them, and there's reasons for that. But I think it's a complete misuse of the funds that we've been put in charge of. And I completely would be opposed to doing this at this point in time.
If we have nothing more, then
I do have something else to
All right.
say, to kind of throw out there is we chose as a city to take a little bit of a more quote unquote aggressive approach towards the things that we're going to tackle and the goals that we have as a city, as well as things that are happening with public works that's costing a lot more money than we originally anticipated. However, we were able to push forward and get it through. Maybe next year the approach is a little bit less aggressive as towards our budget and our spending, but maybe I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, our reserve is our goal for our reserve is lower than it was recently because of our goals that we are pushing forward, work that we want to get done, and it goes back to what I said about does it set a trend? We're talking about meeting the moment, but when does that moment end? You know, in 2015 there were more deportations than there are today. In this last fiscal year, maybe deportations are increasing since this past fiscal year, but when will it stop? And I understand there's going to be a different use perhaps for this fund in the future. You know, when there's another emergency. So I apologize for being vague and arbitrary in what I'm saying, because this is still a little bit new to me, and also. To off of what Carrie Brogy said, what is to stop the other funds from coming in and requesting money? Are we picking and choosing, and how much are we able to accommodate to other people? Like I don't know if the 805 and DocuFund. I know it sounds to me like that's a fund. What if they are in this pressing issue that we're facing, requesting money as well? So what trend are we setting here, and what direction are we going in? I think, as a fellow council member said, can we iron out the details of how we dial in this money, how we dial it in to specifically assist Fillmore specifically? And for that, then I am a little bit more in favor But as of now, I'm more in favor towards the second alternative until we learn more. It feels new. You know, the community was as not to touch base on some of the public comments, but community members who sent in emails as well, they're a little bit confused. They're not really 100% sure what's going on here. They don't know what we're really doing with this contribution. It doesn't feel like a lot now. Definitely it's a lot less than the 20,000. But where is it going, and when does it stop? And does Fillmore eventually stop caring about families, or do families eventually stop needing this money? I think families are always going to need this money. And that's where the rub is, where we make these decisions for the taxpayer. And that goes back to why I was like thinking, can the taxpayer make the decision? Because it's not, it feels very new and fresh. And I apologize for not doing all the research that I possibly could have. And perhaps this can be revisited. It sounds like this organization has been doing a lot of work for a lot of years, and I expect them to continue to do good work. And as of now, I'm on the alternative of the second option.
I have a question, and maybe this goes to our gentleman who's from the VCCF. Our option 2, if you saw the report, is to not contribute to the Neighbor Support Fund. No, yeah, not to contribute to it, but to indicate a declared statement that we support it. What's the benefit of that? What are we doing? What are we trying to accomplish in taking that step? I mean, again, we're stepping in muddy waters here, because contrary to, I think, a lot of what we're talking about, this isn't a 100% across the board situation. And within the city of Fillmore even, I understand, you know, we have this, the stats that Christina provided were great, but it's still, it's a controversial issue. So what's the purpose in us taking a stance?
Well, you're joining 30 other members of the coalition that are already there, including cities that are growing in number. And I think that just the optics of you not being a part of that coalition and showing support for that constituency that's so key here in Fillmore sends a message in whatever way it sends, right? And so I think that's the big piece that's there.
Okay, I know the Board of Supervisors voted no on this issue.
It was we needed one more vote, and I believe it will come back again.
Did they have the option of the declaring their board to support the Neighbors Support Fund?
I'm not sure.
And not
I wasn't
donate?
there, so I don't know. But you know, Jeff Gorell, for example, voted against it, but has endorsed the Neighbor Support Fund. He was in our last newsletter.
I think that's an excellent solution. I mean, I think that's something that we could certainly, information we could give out to the public. If you
Yeah.
want to donate, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we need to do either 1 or 2 on our options here. People can choose for themselves if they want to take a stance, if they want to declare support, if they want to provide support and donate.
Absolutely.
I think we leave it to the individuals. It eliminates the issues of potentially having other nonprofits approaching us, and I don't want to go down that road, because we don't have the money. And, you know, when you looked at what Thousand Oaks donated, and, you know, kudos to them for giving $100,000, and $5,000 by comparison doesn't sound like much, but you're talking Thousand Oaks versus the city of Fillmore. $5,000 for the city of Fillmore is a whole lot of money. So, and there's so many things that we could do with the $5,000 when it comes to just improvements on our park, or, you know, whatever. There's a million things we could do with $5,000 extra dollars. I don't want to go down that road, so.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say is the Ventura County Community Foundation is your community foundation.
Absolutely.
For the
I agree
county.
100%. Yeah.
And so this isn't some odd fly-by-night group that's coming here So are you going to be requested dollars for the rest of your life? Yeah, because the need is going to always be there. We'll be back when there's a fire saying, can we help out fire victims?
Right.
And so, and I would also say, not to add confusion to this, but should you decide, we would match that $5,000 and make sure that there's $10,000 that would be here just for Fillmore. So just something to consider. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council members, we have 4 of us here. If anyone would like to entertain a motion on this item, I will start. I'll entertain a motion. I'll make my own motion. I motion that we do 2 things. We support the VCCF Neighborhood Fund and contribute $5,000 to a matching $5,000 from VCCF, and that we earmark those funds for Fillmore residents. That's my motion. Do I have a second? I do not have a second. My motion dies.
I would make an amendment to that, if I could earmark it to,
You need to speak on the mic.
I would make an amendment to that, if I could specifically send it to 2 organizations, Sunshine Preschool and Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, I accept your amended motion.
Okay, this gets complicated, and this goes to our city attorney. So I am on the board of Sunshine Preschool, so.
But is it a paid contribution?
No, it's not, that's a good point. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so amended motion, I believe Albert has seconded my amended motion. Let's take a vote, right? Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, let's do a roll call vote. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Brogy,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendez,
Yes.
Mayor Villaseñor,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez.
No.
Okay, we are split, so that motion does not pass. Are there any more motions on this item to entertain?
I would make a motion for item number 3, not to declare the city council support for the VCCF Neighbors Support Fund and do not make a financial contribution.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second to Councilmember Brogy's motion? Okay. She does not have a second. Okay, that motion dies.
We're so productive.
All right, well, we'll try one more with a motion.
I'd like to entertain a motion.
Okay. Yes.
The alternative of number 2, to declare the city council support the VCCF Neighbor Support Fund and do not make a financial contribution. I think supporting the VCCF,
I'll second it.
if we can use our social media to encourage citizens who want to donate.
Okay, can I make an amendment? Point
Yes.
something out? This is not to state that we support VCCF. We are supporting the
neighbor
subcommittee beneath it, the Neighbor Support Fund, which has its own issue, their own project, their own, however you want to describe it. They're focused on one thing specifically. I mean, I definitely would support, I support VCCF all the time. But it's the subcommittee, the Neighbor Support Fund is the issue that I'm having.
Okay, well, that could be your issue, but he has a motion on the floor.
I'm sorry to backtrack a little bit. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I don't have an issue with the citizenry seeing the Neighbors Support Fund on our social media and choosing for themselves to contribute with that. Is that fall within this alternative? Is that what are we doing by declaring our support for this fund? I'm okay with anybody donating whatever they want to donate it. And I'm also okay with the city of Fillmore saying, hey, contribute if you'd like. Does that fall into that?
I think that says number 2, by declaring official city council of support. That's saying city of Fillmore supports the specific fund.
Tiffany?
Okay.
Get a motion.
I think he was just clarifying.
So
that's your
let's
motion.
like that. There has been a motion made. Yeah, we're just talking about if there were to be a motion on number 2. I mean, the way it's written is that it would be support for the neighbor support funds, period, and not make any money. And then we could do the social media as was contemplated for the neighborhood support fund. So it does sound like that's where you wanted to go.
That is the motion, based on the information that I have now, that's the motion that I would like to make, is the alternative number 2.
Alternative number 2.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we do a roll call vote on this motion?
Councilmember Broggie?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Mendez?
Yes.
Mayor Villaseñor?
Yes.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay, yes, so we have adopted the alternative, number 2, and clarification, Tiffany, does he need to have a second motion on that idea of social media, or can it be encompassed within
I think it
number
can
2?
be encompassed. I think
Okay.
staff got that.
Okay,
Yeah, I've got that as additional direction.
okay, okay, and that's where we have it. Thank you. All right, that concludes that item. And we have one last business item. This is now 8G. This is a discussion of the 1/3 retail requirement within the Central Business District Core and implementation of the Downtown Revitalization Partnership. Good evening, Kevin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'm going to use a PowerPoint presentation. I don't do that very often. We're just going to discuss this item, right? And I'm going to just try to get direction from you. It's not a public hearing. Your decision's not final. Don't stress about it. We're going to review the 1/3 retail requirement for downtown specific plan. That's a term we use for a zoning ordinance requirement that we do for downtown, for businesses downtown. Before I begin on that, I will like to explain a little bit about downtown. You already know this. The downtown is the culture of our city. It's not Highway 126. We don't have festivals on Highway 126. We have them downtown. We have events downtown, May festivals and that type of stuff. The historic train, the railroad promenade, City Hall, Central Park, the post office, the specialty businesses, the town theater, antique shops, bakeries, drugstores, the winery. Those types of things are in our downtown. We also have about 300 residential units downtown. 70 of those units are right on Central Avenue. So downtown is a place to be, but it's still struggles. The highway, as mentioned in our 1988 general plan, that's where you go for economic vitality. It's mentioned specifically like that in our general plan from 1988. That's where auto-related businesses go. Gas stations, fast foods, those things to make a quick buck, right? That's our highway. Downtown, if you look at the 1988 general plan, is meant for local people. It's not meant for economic vitality. That's what it felt like when it says that. But immediately following the general plan, the city council started to study the downtown, the 1988 general plan, and they studied it with students from Cal Poly. They took architectural students and said, hey, what can we do to make it economic vital? And the result was develop a specific plan. And the specific plan started early in about 1991 and was finally adopted in 1994. And the idea was to encourage revenue generating development to attract residents and visitors. So we're now adding not just local people, but visitors should come downtown. And our vision is to create a lively pedestrian shopping district at the street level. New business and existing businesses must adhere to that standard street level, and that's when we created our 1/3 retail requirement in the zoning ordinance in 1994. So we said, hey, not only are you going to be a culture and the culture of our town, but you're also going to be economically vital and you're going to be retail oriented. So the downtown's not going to have gas stations, it's not going to have car washes, it's not going to have drive-through restaurants, it's not going to have rental equipment yards, It's not going to have welding repair or athletic gyms or beauty salons. But guess what? We have those things because those are legally non-conforming, and they've been easing out in the last 30 years. But we still make some concessions, and we make some, under certain circumstances, we do allow for some things, and we've been bending the rules a little bit. We're a little bit laxed. So, and we have a lot of vacancies right now. This particular topic is not the first time we as a city council has been reviewing it, or the city as a body. We've reviewed it 4 or 5 times since 2010. In 2017, the city council's direction was, hey, take a look at the 1/3 retail and maybe remove it. But there's hesitation when they said that. The hesitation is that we would lose this economic vitality, these tourist people from outside coming and visiting. The city council did not want to lose that. There was concern that we would become nothing but beauty salons, nothing but athletic gyms, nothing but for our local people. I know that sounds a little insulting, but that was the concern. We should be economically viable, attracting people, attracting businesses from outside the area. So I'm going to quickly go through some of the photographs that I took 15 years ago, and it's still representative today. We have a whole bunch of a variety of shops, such as this. Medical supply businesses, services, medical services, personal services, mixed use. Right? At the time in 1994, this was progressive, way advanced. Now we have a combination. Now this is a popular idea. This is an apartment complex. People don't even realize there's an apartment complex. That's an apartment complex too. So is that. Clothing businesses, we no longer have this particular store, and then special events. So to prevent the city from losing that outside tourism, the city council adopted an economic plan in April, just this past April. The city manager presented that. And the city manager presented items that we've already been doing. Maybe the members of the public don't realize that we're doing it. But the city manager presented, we've improved storefronts downtown. We've already created a how to open up a business brochure. That's already been done. We've developed a little bit of a custom business recruitment package, but we need to complete that, and we need to target it for particular businesses. We need to launch, or we have launched already, a downtown rehabilitation program. We've completed a branding toolkit with logos and marketing. We've introduced a Fillmore Fun Day. And we have ongoing partnerships with Ventura County Economic Development Collaborative. So if we do those things, we'll still be pursuing tourists and outside interests in our downtown. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So if you decide to remove the 1/3 retail because we view it as an obstacle, we still have methods to attract outside resources. And we should continue to do that. So I put in really tiny print what we can do. We can do status quo, let's do nothing. We've been doing that for a number of years. Or we can remove that requirement entirely, 1/3 retail, and maybe we will get more beauty salons, some more athletic gyms, another RE/MAX. But what's wrong with that? Right? We're filling in vacancies with that. Or we can take our 1/3 retail and shrink it to only one block. I'm not sure what that gets us. And then the other areas can go with a wider use, be allowed to do a wider use. Then finally, I just want to show you our land use matrix. Everything is done by our land use matrix. So you'll see a column called CN, that represents commercial neighborhood. CBD, that represents central business district with the asterisk number 1. That's the 1/3 retail. CO stands for commercial office, or CH, commercial highway. So if you go through this matrix, I've already read to you the things that we will not have, from car washes to gas stations and those types of things. And that's what this matrix does. It makes sure that we don't become an auto-related a place, that we're a pedestrian-related. We still have locals visiting our downtown, CVS. That's excellent. That's a great problem to have. We have a parking problem. That's great, right? We should be happy, and we should still continue to attract outside businesses that want to invest in our downtown. Good examples are the winery, the theater. Man, the one we just gave the expansion from the old Fillmore. What's that church called? Oh my gosh, on Central Avenue. That one, Alex. I know by the Presbyterian Church. Yeah, Alex Glasscock.
Oh, Fillmore on Central.
Yeah. So we've done Roan Mills. Those are outside kind of people, but and the others is that we can, for our own town, we can also invest. They too can invest in our downtown, and should. Anyway, this is just for discussion. It's up, whatever you decide. If you decide to, let's remove that 1/3 retail, well, then we'll start the zone text amendment. Those will be public hearings with Planning Commission, and then with City Council. We'll ask the public to have input. We'll ask more downtown merchants to give input, and we'll go from there. That concludes my presentation. I'll take any questions you may have. That took 11 minutes.
Right.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Kevin. You have questions?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think I'm going to. In all the efforts that we've put forward, and this is going back at least where I've been involved either on planning or city council from 2013, I feel like we're not making progress. And everyone's frustrated about it, I know. And I think we've made several really good attempts at it, and we currently, I think with the committee that we've got set up, then that'll be helpful. But, and maybe I'm just impatient.
I know it feels that way, and but we've made considerable strides. So in our conference room, we have an aerial map, and it's from 2024. Prior to that aerial map, we had the 2014 aerial map. 10 years went by. I labeled 40 projects that got constructed within those 10 years. And we have another 10 or so projects coming through. So these improvements, they're incremental. It seems to be slow, but I think if we list them out, you'll be surprised we've done quite a bit. And I also say, hopefully I've shown from 1988 to present date, there's been a lot of interest from city council and the city and the community to continue to focus downtown, and we'll continue to do that. The downtown merchants, the efforts right there is a good example, and we just need to continue to do that.
Yeah, and I apologize, I wasn't clear on that. I was specifically talking about downtown Central.
Yeah.
I think the projects that the city's accomplished with regard to everywhere else in the city has been fantastic.
But even downtown, so the church that was converted, Roan Mills, and we have some other businesses that are just now starting to come in. So it might feel that way because we see it every single day. We have done a lot. We have quite a few projects in the pipeline right now that some of them are close to construction. Some of them are about 3 or 4 years down the line. But I think what you're really saying is like economic improvement.
Well, and achieving that goal that was set in 1988, I think that was the year.
Yeah.
That was before I was born, but that was, long ago.
Me too.
But just making it a tourist attraction, where people from out of the area want to come and visit. There are fun things to do, and starting making there an anchor. And we talked about, the theater being an anchor. And speaking of the theater, everyone needs to be there on Saturday for the history of the theater presentation that's going to be put on. But we need to participate in these things. We need to, but that's the frustrating part is I see still so many empty storefronts and we don't have that main anchor established.
Well, the post office is a great anchor. Everybody goes to the post office, right? That is a great anchor. City Hall is a great anchor, and CVS is becoming a great anchor. These are things people go to every day or maybe twice a week, and that's when you stop and talk to a neighbor for a second. That winds up taking 2 hours. So we're getting, just don't give up. That's what I'm saying. We can make these efforts. We'll do this today and again next year and the next year and next year. But we've had some stumbling blocks with the railroad not operating like it used to do. Right, that was a huge tourist attraction. Maybe if that comes back again, but I think the downtown merchants in the community are saying, hey, it may not feel like we move forward, but we have. Just keep at it.
You can talk on the mic. Thank you.
I think that 1/3 retail part is hurting our recruiting efforts.
It's not making it easy for a property owner. It would be easier for a property owner to be able to flip, if he has a vacancy, find someone quicker. It might help him immediately. It might not help the town very, very much, right? So having RE/MAX right on Central Avenue, it might not be great on a day-to-day basis for that pedestrian window shopping idea. However, it does bring in somebody downtown, and when they're there, they can walk to the next place. But I think that turnover helps, and I think we have heard a lot in the last 10 years, and it's a constant refrain: get rid of that 1/3 retail.
Well, I think it's a no-brainer then that we get rid of that 1/3 retail, right? Like, what do you think?
Well, I actually asked this to be brought. I'm sorry, I'll let you finish.
I think it's a good thing if he's saying that, and I believe him because he has done all the research and he's been here, that we get rid of that 1/3 retail and it's preventing store or property owners from filling it. And our goal, we want it to be filled, and if we get bodies there downtown, and I see Hori down there shaking her head like yes, that's what we need is bodies. I think like downtown, and that's potential customers in my eyes, and they do great. Hori's great at advertising tracks down there. It's great, and there's other people down there that are advertising. And if we have people downtown,
I forgot to mention the city manager asked that I do a survey of all the cities in Ventura County, and do they have similar type of requirements? And they don't. We're the only one. They have other types of things, but the economic package that you've approved in April, if you continue that in the forefront and you're always thinking about that, there are programs in there, and some of them, great majority will probably fail. But you try,
right.
And some of them are going to succeed. Look at what we have done in 30 years. If you remember what we're sitting on Hub's bar.
That's right. Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. My husband reminds me of Hubs.
So I shared this with Manny yesterday. I actually asked to have this brought as an agenda item. But then shortly after I did that, then I happened to be talking to merchants, and merchants said, well, no, we want that. We don't want to get rid of that. So I thought, darned if we do, darned if we don't.
Well,
no, I think they're concerned. They're concerned that it will flip to change to they'll miss the attracting people from the outside. That's what they're concerned about. And if we're only for local people, well, then it's not going to succeed. And we have 17,000 people. That's not enough. We need all the 100,000 people to get from Ventura, Moore Park, Santa Clarita. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's sort of like the push and pull, it sounds like, of businesses who, again, cater or try to get that tourism, selling of things, selling of retail things, and then
It's a mix. So we're
and
looking at
especially
looking
post,
at a mix.
Amazon and all of that
Yeah.
of services, I guess, really services needed, and you get the foot traffic that then leads to, I'm here doing what XYZ service, and let me shop
leads-
also retail, right? So,
It leads to parking problems.
mhm.
Man, I was so happy to hear that today.
What was that?
It leads to parking problems.
Parking problems.
That is such a great problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my input or try to understand here is really kind of working and communicating well with the merchants, and that understanding of, you know what, it's gonna ebb and flow, especially like if we decide to do this and eliminate the 1/3 retail for that time being in the near future, you're going to see that percentage go upwards possibly of the business service-oriented businesses. But again, businesses come and go. And so especially if we bring the railroad back and it really gets going, maybe, I don't know, not this season, but maybe by next Christmas season, let's say, maybe there's folks who are thinking, okay, no, let me, try and get in there in that retail. So then it could go back the other way. So.
The last point I'd like to make is none of this is set in stone. We can adapt and change. We mess up when we stop changing.
Yeah.
We don't adapt.
We don't adapt.
We think we know everything.
One thing that stayed in my mind from the conversation I had with Erika was the idea of bringing, especially again for tourists, but then also for people here who, I think both locals and tourists, they want experience type things, right? And that whole sense of place. And we come to Fillmore to experience Fillmore. And that may mean shopping in downtown and walking around the beautiful City Hall area and the bike path, all that sort of thing. And kind of keeping that in mind, because again, experiences are both things, right? You can experience a wonderful retail shop, vintage wares and that sort of thing. You can also have a good experience getting a good haircut. So, so with that, yeah, I'm understanding. I think change is good. So that's where I'm leaning here. Any other input? All right. Well, what's our direction, council? I know you're saying, Albert, you're still feeling let's lift it. Eliminate the 1/3. Okay, I'm with you on that. I think let's change it. And let's see where it goes from there. Let's see where our ebbing goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we good with that? Okay. Just look at my councils for. Oh, okay. All right. I don't think so. I think it's just some direction, right? Don't need a formal motion. Okay. All right. We can provide that to Kevin. And now we move on in our council agenda to our city manager verbal report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to make this quick. There's a lot of activity going on, and I'll start off with this weekend on Saturday, a reminder that we're having the citywide trash cleanup day, and that is going to be taking place at well number 4, and that is located between Goodenough Road, between A Street and B Street in North Fillmore, across from Amaron, if that's kind of a locator for you. And so that's between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. So, folks start to line up early for that. So please, get there early if you have some stuff that you want to get out of your house and get out of your garage and clean up some space. And next, I want to report out on an upcoming safety meeting that Southern California Edison is going to be hosting, and I reported this at the last meeting. This is their wildfire community safety meeting. And that's going to be held here at City Hall in the council chambers on October 6th from 6 to 8 o'clock. And we're going to have staff members from Southern California Edison, Ventura County Fire Department, City of Fillmore Fire Department, Ventura County Supervisor Kelly Long's office, and they'll be making presentations on wildfire preparedness. So please help get the word out. And we're publishing these social media posts to get the word out. And so, if council members, if you're out there, if you can please, help signal boost that, and we can get as many people here to take advantage of the information that will be passed along there. Just on this past September 10th, we had a meeting with Caltrans. This was a meeting to discuss safety improvements on Highway 126, specifically from the LA County line to Halleck Road. And we were joined by staff members from Caltrans, including District 7 Director Gloria Roberts. So we were very pleased that she made time in her day to be present for this meeting. And then we're also joined by members of the Ventura County Transportation Commission, CHP, and city staff members were there. Our community development director, our police and fire chiefs were present for this meeting. And gosh, if I'm leaving off anybody else, please let me know. But we had a good group there. And Caltrans provided a good PowerPoint presentation on their observations and their plan to put together a safety study, comprehensive safety study, and that will be completed by November 30th. So I'll be updating you on the progress of that report, if perhaps they'll be getting that done sooner, or if it's going to take a little bit while to complete that report. I forgot to mention that Commissioner and Councilmember Carrie Broggie was also on that call. So thank you, Councilmember Broggie, for attending and participating in that meeting as well. So in addition to that safety report, Caltrans also invited the member groups to provide any data that they would have on accidents, and so CHP had some data that they were going to give to them. I know that our police department is working on providing some data for them to take into consideration. That way we have a comprehensive report to share with the council and the rest of the community. So it's a really important study, and we eagerly anticipate its completion, and hopes to plan for a future town hall meeting where we can share this with the community. We did have our first well number 10 workshop. Thank you, Public Works Director Joe Balomo and his team for putting that together. And we'll be following that up with another workshop on October 3rd at Dolores Day Park at the gazebo there at 6 o'clock. So please be on the lookout for that. We're going to be working hard to get the information out on that meeting. We're going to send notices to residents that live within a radius of the Dolores Day Park, and then also be pumping that out on our social media to inform the residents of that meeting. We did have the California Coastal Cleanup Day at Shields Park, right behind Shields Park, and they called it the Treasure Hunt. And special thanks to everybody that came out for that event. I think we had about 40 people come out, so a mix of young and older community members. So we had children there, we had families out, high school students, we had teachers and members of the Rotary Club. Special thank you to Amanda DeZaval in our Parks and Recreation Department for coming out and helping me to sign people up and get them registered and weigh their trash. So we had a good count of the amount of trash that was recovered from the Sespe Creek riverbed along Shields Park. So thanks to everybody involved in that. Let's see here, moving on. We did, Mayor mentioned the Fillmore Business Roundtable meeting that we had on 9/11 at Red Engine Brewery. What I really want to show appreciation and where I find value in those meetings is the collaboration that was offered from Preston at Red Engine Brewery to offer his videographer. He's got a contract with the videographer. I think a lot of you have seen his social media posts. They do a really good job in making really high-quality videos to promote their business. And he's offered the services of his videographer to any and all businesses from the downtown or any of the businesses that attended the roundtable to create a video at no cost to them. The only commitment that he asked was that the business agree to fund a social media promotion, promoting their own video, so that basically he can help show them how to utilize the tools that we have at our fingertips in our social media apps, in Facebook and Instagram, or any of these social media apps that are very, very helpful to businesses. And he also offered to host a workshop the day before they were going to film the video, so that, or actually the day before our next roundtable meeting, so that he can show the businesses, in person, how to create a marketing post and how to target a good audience. So very, very special thanks to Preston for doing that, and also to our Public Works Department. I'm going to shout them out because a lot of the comments that we get at the meeting are to repair areas and to clean areas. So Georgie was present for that meeting, and he was very responsive to the needs of the community. We had an issue that was brought up with some uneven pavement adjacent to a few stores on a sidewalk, and I kid you not, maybe less than a week later, a couple days later, Angel and I were walking for lunch to Central Station, and that sidewalk area has been grounded down and made safe for future plans to replace with sidewalk, maybe for next fiscal year's budget. So special thanks to the Public Works Department for getting on that right away. Appreciate you guys. Let's see here. Next, Fillmore Immigration Resources Workshop. We're going to be putting out a social media announcement this week that event is going to be hosted here at City Hall on October 16th. That is the new date for it, and we've had to switch around some of the presenters for that, and we'll be getting information out about that. But we've got a really good group of presenters that are going to provide some really good information on that date. We'll be coming to you again, of course, with the Clean Power Alliance item at our next meeting on October 14th. And also we'll be bringing the Spirit of Santa Paula Homeless Shelter MOU at our October 14th meeting. City of Fillmore, we've been meeting with City of Santa Paula and County of Ventura to hammer out a new agreement. And so we're going to be bringing that to you on October 14th for you to review and approve, hopefully. Okay. And then our ERF grant, we are working on the agreement with the case management, and we're working on that with our legal counsel to get that agreement finalized. So that's an update on that. We hope to start that program off in October, as previously reported. And with that, I'm going to conclude my report at this time. Any questions?
All right, we have any questions? Oh, thank you, Manuel.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, at this point, we recess into closed session, and we do have a conference with the real property negotiator. We will conduct a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 to enable the City Council to consider negotiations and to give direction to its negotiators regarding that certain real property at 364 Santa Clara Avenue. Okay, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. We are back from our closed session. We have met with council, and there is no reportable action. And I'll now adjourn this meeting until our next regularly scheduled council meeting on Tuesday, October 14th at 6:30 here at City Hall. Thank you.